this is Alex Taylor.
And this is Cara Moore, and you're listening to Alex and Cara's A Gen Z Convo. Today we will be discussing bullying after we give you a 5-minute rundown of the past week's world news. Take it away, Alex.
Thank you, Cara. Okay, anyways, in the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow, more than 100 leaders have pledged to put an end to deforestation by 2030 and reverse the damages inflicted. Furthermore, the US and the EU also announced their proposal to cut methane emissions by 2030, which more than 100 leaders have also signed up for.
I love that. That's great.
No, I didn't know anything about climate. I mean, I knew a bit, but like climate change, I didn't know how serious it really was until that summit, and I think it's great. Anyways,
Yeah.
Cleo Smith, a 4-year-old girl who went missing on October 16th from her family's tent in a campsite in Western Australia, was found alive 18 days later on the 2nd of October. Her mother wrote on Instagram, "Our family is whole again." She was discovered in a house 100 kilometers from the campsite where she was last seen, and Terrence Darrell Kelly, a 36-year-old man who kidnapped Cleo, has been charged with forcibly or fraudulently taking or enticing a child under 16. I'm so
That's
glad
creepy.
that happened, and that she was found, because she's like one of the few people who actually gets found and gets home safely.
Wow, that must be super traumatic for her. I mean, she's 4 years old.
I hope she doesn't remember much from this, but
Yeah. Also, that's really creepy. That guy was 36. What was he doing with her?
Well, anyone is creepy kidnapping a child. Well, except if it's like a parent and they want custody. That's like that's also bad, but like it's not as creepy as this. And
I actually read a book about that once.
And the crime was opportunistic, so it wasn't like planned. And she wasn't like stalked for ages and whatnot. So I don't know. I just wanted to tell you that. Anyways, moving on to the update on Afghanistan. The Taliban has banned the use of foreign currencies in Afghanistan, which would probably make the bad economic situation in Afghanistan even worse. I think countries around the world, the Western powers specifically, who haven't, I don't think anyone really has yet recognized the Taliban as a proper government, but they are trying to find ways around that to help the humanitarian crisis that is about to strike Afghanistan and affect millions of people there. There was a gun and bomb attack in Kabul military hospital which killed more than 20 and injured at least 16. And a gunman who claimed to be Taliban attacked a wedding in Afghanistan to stop the music from being played, killing 2 or more, as well as injuring 10 more. I think it.
A wedding? Like, really?
Yeah, I don't get it. And I feel like Afghanistan is once again about to be a hotspot for terror and that, because we have been seeing a lot of these suicide bombings and gun attacks. I really hope this doesn't happen, because we already have enough bloodshed happening in our world currently, and problems such as climate change that really needs to be taken care of. Anyways, Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, has urged residents to take up arms and protect themselves against rebel militants. This came after the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or the TPLF, claimed to have taken control of 2 cities some 400 kilometers from Addis Ababa. Moreover, a new report stated that all sides in the conflict has violated international human rights, including extrajudicial executions, torture, rape, and attacks against refugees and displaced people. A building in Ikoyi, a neighborhood in Nigeria, collapsed, which killed at least 36 people, with many more missing. I think that's really.
I feel like building collapses are one of my biggest fears.
Yeah, and it was a pretty affluent neighborhood as well, so that kind of makes it even scarier. It was a proper building, and people are still missing because piles of rubble have been crumbled down anything. A
Yeah,
24-year-old man wearing a Joker costume set fire to a train carriage and started attacking people with a knife in a moving train. And I think the train had to make an emergency stop where they kind of climbed out the windows because the doors weren't opened, and I think it might have killed one person, but it has definitely injured 17 people.
wow, that's terrifying. I hope you're all doing very well.
And I think I don't know, it might not be true. I've heard this, but it might be because of well, I really don't know, but I just people kill people in on a massive scale because they want to be executed, and they want to get like the death penalty in that kind of sense. Like they want to kill themselves, but they don't want to kill themselves. You know, they just want to die, but they don't want to be responsible for that.
At the expense of other people's
Yeah.
lives? That's horrific.
I've heard of like a few cases where they discuss that, and I mean where that was kind of like the motive, but I don't know. It's really really frustrating, and it's absolutely terrifying because you have no way of escape on a moving train. I feel like I'm dragging this on so much, but I just a fear of trains now. Yeah. Anyways, a religious school and mosque in the north part of Yemen were hit by missiles fired by the rebel Houthi movement, killing at least 29 people. This deadly conflict has already cost 233 deaths and has caused the worst humanitarian crisis, according to the UN. So there really needs something that needs something that must be done to help the people in Yemen. And I've read somewhere that a boy has to replace his teachers because his teachers have been killed by the conflict, and children are getting targeted by snipers and being killed. Anyways, moving on. This is also devastating. Well, I don't think anything happy has happened to be on this news. For There was an arrest made for organizing a violent attempt to bring down the U.S. government. Two neo Nazis, Brian Mark Lemley, 35, and Canadian Patrick Jordan Matthews, 29, were sentenced to 9 years in jail. They were both members of the white nationalist group called BASE, and their plans included destroying railway lines, poisoning water supplies, and breaking a racist mass murderer out of an Indiana prison in 2015. Furthermore, they were caught discussing how last year's gun rally in Richmond, Virginia could be used to bring down the U.S. government. And I think something that could be taken away here is that these ideologies and white supremacist ideas still exist, and something really must be done because racism is taught. And I think it's really devastating, and it shows that. And you know how people, when they think of terrorists, they think of people who aren't in their country and people who like don't look like them, or people who just are dirty.
Don't have, yeah.
Right? But it really shows that there's terrorists inside communities as well that you may have not thought about, like neo-Nazis.
Yeah, I think you make a really, really good point there about how we often overlook such simple things and just assume that bad things happen that like are nowhere near like anything like have any close relation to us, and
Yeah.
people
And there's
often
like
neglect that, and that can actually cause a lot of problems.
Right. And there's this like certain stereotype about terrorists being someone different and someone who you don't see every day, and someone who, are a little strange or is foreign. I think we have this kind of image that terrorists aren't from their country, or like immigrants or something like that. But it's also the people who live there. And they're just hiding in plain sight. Anyways, moving on. Sudan's security forces shot live ammunition and tear gas against pro-democracy protesters, killing at least 3 people, according to a doctors' committee. Thousands marched in the capital, Khartoum, and other cities on Saturday, demanding the reinstatement of ousted Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok.
What? Live ammunition against protesters? Shouldn't it be like rubber
I
bullets?
didn't know anything about this and how they've kind of lost their democracy. I think that's terrible. I mean, pro-democracy. I think I'm a person that really supports democracy, just because
Yeah.
it's just something. One person died in a cable car accident in the Czech Republic, and firefighters rescued 14 individuals who were in a cabin traveling the opposite way. I'm absolutely terrified of this happening. Just cable cars. Now I don't want to go
I
in them.
hate cable cars. Finally, someone understands. Cable cars are terrifying. They are basically a death machine.
Well, yeah, but they also have like magnificent, lovely views.
Yeah, but like still look at it.
Okay, you did make a valid point there, because yeah, a person did die after it like fell and crashed. But isn't it worthwhile? You know, the photos you could take, memories. Yeah.
I have a lot of memories of cable cars and they're all terrifying.
Okay, never mind. I don't think I can convince you otherwise. Anyways, to end on a light note, finally some good news after the horrid stuff I talked about just now. Anyways, there was Diwali was, I think, the some it was, yeah, um Diwali, a celebration of light, victory over darkness, was celebrated around the world this week, and I think it's celebrated by Hindus, Sikhs, and Buddhists, some Buddhists. But I think it's really cool. It's really pretty too, the decorations.
I love that.
I've seen it online.
I think I saw.
It's lovely.
Yeah, I think I saw.
It's so pretty, and like in the rice decorations with the colors and the different shapes. I love that. I don't know. Anyways, that's it for the 5-minute news. I'm actually really excited about today's topic, and I don't think I'm supposed to be excited, but I am excited just because I get to learn more about it. Like, we know what it is, but we don't really know what's with, like, I don't know, the effects of it and things like that. And I know they are substantial. So
yeah, they definitely.
It's good to spread awareness about these things, because we are constantly being told, like, oh, you can't bully. Like,
Yeah.
you just be like, oh, don't bully people. Don't
But like,
be
what
mean
does
to
bully
people.
actually mean?
But like, people still do it, and you just don't see it sometimes. Yeah.
True.
Oh, and a perfect song that goes with this, "Mean" by Taylor Swift. Give it a listen.
Oh, that's great. That was like country, wasn't it?
Right. It was country Taylor. I love her.
I love her in general. I love her so much. Okay. So let's get started.
Yes.
So according to Teen Health, bullying is defined as when someone is picked on by a person or group. Bullies might make fun of people who think they don't fit in. Some of the categories provided by them include appearance, behavior, race or religion, social status, sexual identity, and many more.
Right.
So many examples of bullying often come from high school and middle school, but we often don't realize that this can happen in college and spread out into adults' lives in the workspace as well. The bully also ranges from kids, adults, to bosses and teachers.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Which is also really disturbing, because bosses and teachers are meant to make you feel safe and secure, and they do the bullying instead.
Yeah, they are supposed to like help you grow and nurture you.
Definitely. You know? So in today's episode, we will cover all of this, including the categories that bullying has been split into. And yes, the problem is gotten so big that it has been split up into categories. So these categories are, keeping in mind that these are only the main ones, and there are obviously a lot more and a mixture of them.
I think
physical, verbal.
I think one thing I want to point out here is like in all of our videos, we're definitely not going to be able to cover everything in like the span of an hour or less. So I think,
there's a lot of this out there, and it's also such a not versatile, that makes it sound like it's a positive thing. It's such a complicated and like it's a horrifically complicated thing that had so many layers to it, and it takes a lot of time to break down.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, so the categories. Sorry.
The what categories. Are you guys interrupting each other?
I'm so tired. Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Okay, you continue. I'll listen.
Fine. So the categories are physical, verbal, and finally cyberbullying. And there's also emotional bullying, but I think that is like just an overall
and things like that, like kind of like domestic abuse and whatnot.
I think gaslighting also kind of works with verbal.
Yeah.
Domestic abuse would be physical, but it's also
psychological. I think emotional bullying, right? Like psychologically, emotionally kind of thing.
Yeah, I think those all range from verbal mostly, but it's also, I think it's the effect of all of the kinds of bullying into one person.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's really complicated, but
it is.
Yeah. First up is physical bullying. So as the name suggests, physical bullying is when a bully physically harms their target, such as punching, shoving, pushing, and so on, spitting as well. So according to Admissionly, thousands of students have to face some or other types of physical assaults in secondary schools in the U.S., and the school bullying statistics keep growing every month, which is really sad to see, but sadly, it's also
I thought it would be going down.
Nope, it's going up.
Oh. Okay, well, I pushed you around. Does it count?
No, I don't think that counts. Yeah. Because I pushed you around too. But like you know what I mean. But if I called you a bully, you would see the picture.
Horrible. I don't see how bullies can get away. I can see like how they can get away with like verbal abuse, because you definitely can't get evidence for that. But I feel like there would be security cameras in school just to show what's going on, and these things are like definitely illegal. You can be charged with assault. So I don't get it's so evident too, because if you're like pushing someone in school, you would definitely see that. It's not something you can like hide.
Yeah. The one of the main things where people don't see, like, don't report it, is because they're afraid of being called like a tattletale. And especially within kids, like, acceptance between peers is something that they validate a lot.
Yeah.
So being the fear of being labeled a pushover or like a tattletale is like, that fear is much bigger. Yeah, a snitch.
Oh yeah,
that was a word.
I think there's just so much negativity surrounding doing the right thing and telling someone and getting the help you need because of these kind of things.
Yeah, definitely. So now, keeping in mind of the statistic, think of all the numbers of the cases that are going unreported, and then add that to the number of the cases that is being like reported. The numbers are unfortunately sky high, and that in itself is really disturbing. Physical bullying can leave scars onto their victims, and that could be in forms of emotional or physical, and even memories, and that could be brought into their later lives as well. You never know how deep that sword will sink.
No, yeah, I think one thing I want to add is the people who inflict pain may not remember what they've done, but the people who've actually suffered through that do actually remember it for the rest of their lives, and it's kind of like ingrained into their memory.
Yeah, no matter how small you think that act is, like,
it's still in here.
Yeah,
still in.
That's, you know, the metaphor that they teach you in school about like breaking a plate. how like that it'll never stay the same again. Like you never know. So just don't do it. So speaking of emotional scars, that actually blends very nicely into the next point, which is verbal bullying. Verbal bullying may be the most commonly used form of bullying. Verbal bullying is another form by which school students or college students are commonly bullied. Though it does not involve any physical assault, it is equally traumatic as physical bullying. Other than teasing, verbal bullying involves actions like taunting, intimidating, and threatening, repeated name-calling, remarks, and sexually directed comments. Students who undergo verbal bullying experience depression, anxiety, lack of sleep, lower academic achievement, and dropping out of school, which is like obviously terrible.
And I feel like for this one, you kind of don't you don't snitch, or you don't get the help you need as much as physical bullying, because you can never prove that someone said something to you unless it's like a recording. But still, like it's kind of shrugged off, it's thought of as having no effect, but it does have a lot, and it brings a lot.
Yeah, you know the saying, the pen is mightier than the sword?
Oh, I was thinking of sticks and stones break your bones or something.
Sticks and stones might break your bones, but
words don't, or something.
What words do break your bones?
Yeah, they do, and it's yeah.
Wrong saying.
I don't know what I said. Anyways, but yeah, I completely agree.
It was the pen is mightier than the sword. I think language is such a powerful tool, and in cases where powerful weapons are put in place, if it's put in the right hands, it can be beautiful and like artistic.
It's artistic. It's entertaining. It's lovely. It's amazing. But if it's put in the wrong hands,
there you go. It's completely destructive. You can ruin a whole person's life. It's so language and words are so powerful. You just have, if you use it right, just use it right. Like don't try to, what is it called, manipulate it.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree.
There you go. So in most cases, verbal bullying is used for degrading or insulting another person and being dominant over him or her or they. It is not wrong to say that words are mightier than the sword, like we just said, and verbal bullying can have the worst consequences even if the victim has not had any physical injuries, because they will have emotional ones.
Yeah, like I think low self-esteem is one of them. That really plays into so much. Well, I don't think I have low self-esteem, but I might have. But yeah, it does cause a lot of mental health problems if you do.
Yeah, it does. Depression, anxiety.
I wasn't bullied as a young child. Well, I was left out, but like that kind of doesn't count. Does it?
It's I actually just a little
if you were like left out from a friend group, does that count? Would it?
I think that would be like unintentional bullying.
Well,
but if you're purposely like leaving the person out because like, oh my god, she's weird and I don't want to play with her, I just don't want to be like associated, yeah, that's bullying.
Well, yeah, I think I was like, I suffered like kindergarten bullying. It wasn't fun, but it was like not bad. Now that I think of it, I'm like, I was called stupid, but like I was really, really smart as a kindergartner. I'm just bragging right here, but yeah, I think bullying. Well, I don't know how I remember that because I was a kindergartner, but yeah, I think that really shows the effects of bullying and the long-lasting thoughts that you have and the memories. Right.
Definitely.
Cool.
All right, so the next one that we have is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is emerging from bullying where technology is misused for threatening, embarrassing, and
humiliating.
Humiliating other people. Cyberbullying is sadly probably the easiest form of bullying for bullies to get away with, although apps have made a proactive step in adding a report button to their site for people to report bullying comments. But it is still outside of the public and adult eye. This also links to our social media episode, as it is mainly the tool that people use to bully others, and even with the report button, only 15% of students report their abuse.
Oh, I think something I want to add is that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like cyberbullying is getting so much more common with like the growth of social media, and the thing is, you never know who's behind that username because you really don't know sometimes. Um, I think
Yeah.
celebrities get cyberbullied all the time, and they get criticized for their looks or something, like everything. And I think even though you can like report them, but if it's done on a massive scale, you can't like go and report like a million of them. You just don't have the ability to do that. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's really
And
sad. And I think social media is also easier for the bullies to bully someone because you don't see their eyes when you're doing it. You don't see what they're thinking and you don't see what they're
that is
feeling.
so right. Well, that was right. That it's like it's a coward's. Okay, this is gonna sound really wrong, but it's the coward's way out of bullying someone. You know, like
Yeah,
bullying is terrible, but like
you have to
the fact
hide behind the shield,
the fact that
behind
they
that
think
like
that
different username kind of thing.
yeah. And it's also, and you're right, you don't know the names and the faces behind those usernames, so it becomes even more terrifying because you're like, oh, I don't know this. I don't know this person, and like I thought like only like the people in my school thought this. Oh my god, does everyone think this? Because like you don't know it, and
No,
the range.
it makes it even worse. It makes the comment even worse because then you think everyone else in the world is out to get you and they don't like you and they think you're like ugly or some, I don't know, not attractive or anything bad. And I think that's upsetting because they're just
Yeah,
taking the coward's way out, and it's nothing that reflects on you, and it's everything about them that's wrong and nothing about you really is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the point that you brought out about the celebrities as well, because sometimes you think like they're so famous they'll never see my comment or something, be like, oh whatever, I just need to let out some stress, why not do it on this person who will never see it, but they do see it, and they're celebrities, no matter how much money or popularity they gain, they are still human and
And
they see those things and it hurts them.
yeah, and we all have insecurities, and by putting that there, you're really not helping them, and especially because I feel like you might think that they have like a really thick skin and they don't get hurt easily because they're like famous and they have a lot of money and they're like super pretty or something like that, but they also do get hurt, and I think that we're all human, so we all do.
Yeah, and sometimes it just comes from jealousy.
Yeah,
You jealous of that person, and the only way you think that you can cope with this is by, you know,
find other
talking about
ways.
trolling them. And we all get jealous. How like I get jealous of the people that I absolutely adore.
Yeah,
And
I get jealous of you sometimes, a lot.
I get jealous of you. But I don't go around like talking about like how much I hate you.
Well, I do.
Oh, that's nice to know.
I'm kidding, but yeah.
Yeah, I know you're kidding. I think
Yeah, I think
cyberbullying.
like Kara's like really annoying. She doesn't deserve like the vacation she's going on. That's really weird.
What vacation am I going on, Alex? It's literally quarantine. I can't go anywhere.
Well, you went when you had a quarantine, when I had a quarantine and you didn't, and I was like, "You're going on a vacation? I'm in quarantine, literally in a hotel quarantine where I couldn't get out, or else I'd be like arrested or something."
Oh,
The
fine,
windows were
fine.
locked, so we couldn't even open windows. It was, yeah.
Oh wow. Well, that was for the good of the public.
No, I'm definitely glad I did it, but like I'd rather be doing like a home quarantine where you get to like be in your home, windows are
But
open, bigger space, whatnot. But we didn't like have a house yet, so hotel it was.
yeah. I completely forgot my point that I was gonna make.
I'm so sorry. I think we can.
Okay, we're gonna move on if it comes back. Oh yes, now I remember. I saw a case earlier this year, or it could have been last year, where there was this girl, and it was in the United States, where she was bullied
Right.
so badly, and this is like one of many cases. They were bullied so badly that she committed suicide. And it was this lovely girl. She had the most beautiful smiles and bright brown eyes. And she had this, you could see from the photos that she had so much life in her. And it's horrific to see this young girl. I'm not really sure, like around her age. I think it was around like 10 or 11.
She's
This young
10?
girl, like 11 to 12. It was definitely like
No.
way too young. And this girl that was full of life, you can tell how much love she had from just like a couple photos.
And she had like so much ahead of her. She had like a whole future. And she had a chance to get out of her down and go live her life, but
I know, and it was horrific and heart-wrenching to see this young girl being completely degraded down by these horrible bullies from her school that drove her to suicide. And you know what? The worst thing about this that really made my blood boil was that the bullying continued after she died. Like, they made fun of her death on social media with memes about how they put her face everywhere, and they were like, I think remember one was specifically, oh yeah, don't let your mom tuck you in this, and it was pointing at a bed, let her tuck you in this, and it was a grave. And it made my blood boil, and it was honestly, it was horrific. Like, there are no words.
They don't have any shred of respect for that family and who is going through that pain that you were the cause of. And I'm not you, but they were the cause of. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm so angry right now, and it's just so upsetting, especially because suicide is such a sad occurrence that sadly happens all the time. Yeah. And
they made fun of her after her death, and it wasn't just her, it was degrading the whole family. Like
and
what?
the thing is,
Do you have no shame?
No, they have no regrets. I don't know. They and the frustrating thing is they're gonna move on from that, and they're not gonna even think twice about what they've done and what they've broken and what they've destroyed. And
I really hope they do. I hope it.
But they're gonna move on, and they're gonna live their life, and they're gonna have bright futures, and they're not gonna have a care in the world, and they're gonna do it again.
It's the worst. I hope
And
they care.
You can't like I feel like they're not even gonna get punished in any sort of way.
I think they got like suspended, or like the school. I don't think they got. I think the school is like having some sort of had some sort of conversation with them, but like the video didn't go into detail. Honestly, I got so mad.
Conversation? Is that it? Is that it?
I don't know. I got out of the video before.
No, I wouldn't be able to take the pain as well. Like I completely get you. It's just so upsetting. Like that's something that I would cry about at night, just thinking about it happening.
Yeah, but like what I loved was that the comments under the video were so encouraging, and it just shows that there are good people out there.
No, I definitely agree. I love that. But the thing is, my school blocked comments, so now I can't see them on YouTube.
Pros and cons. Comments on YouTube videos are probably the best
aspects of it. I know.
So sorry. All right, we're gonna move swiftly on because
yeah. Yeah, I think the events that we just talked about are just so devastating, and the fact that the punishment that they got was a conversation. it should have been.
I'm sure
Well,
it was a lot worse.
I might be harsh by saying this, but I feel like they kind of deserved a prison sentence at this point.
Juvie manslaughter. I'm sure they did.
Anything, please, like just their records should not be clean.
No.
I'm just so disappointed in our world. I didn't know that was happening that close.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So now, as mentioned before, bullying also appears within colleges as well as the workplace. All the things mentioned in today's episode also apply towards the workplace. So the common form of bullying within the workplace would be the verbal and physical harassment, touching somebody without their permission, or as it would be sexual assault, or being yelled at and being humiliated in front of coworkers. The article I read on this was by someone who has experienced bullying in their youth and thought that it was left behind in the playground, but it has carried them all the way to their adult work life as well. And it was mentioned that the memories of their old days within the bullying was unpleasant, but gave advice to help overcome it. All right, so I picked out 3 main points from what they talked about in the article, because I think these are the ones that are, I don't know, I don't want to say like the best, but I'll just read it out to you guys. So 1, try your best not to be emotional. Bullies tend to thrive on their victims' emotions and will feed on it. When we become emotional, it can tend to blind rational thought. So breathe, think about it, consider if they're even worth responding to, and then respond if needed. And remember, responding is different than reacting. Reacting is what the bullies want you to do. A rational response will just piss them off. So, do that.
And also, just know that it's never your fault. It's just their frustration that they're trying to get out of. It's a them problem. Yeah, definitely. It's not a you problem.
All right, number 2, assess your right. Understand that within a work environment and a school environment that you have the rights to feel safe, comfortable, and respected. If someone or a group of people are making you feel that you are not worthy of any of those things, then you have a right to report it. You might be pressured into thinking that you are snitching, but you are not. I promise you, if anyone is bullying you, you have to report it. And if you see anyone bullying someone else, you have to report it also.
Oh, also, I think I want to mention something here. If they're like bullying you, they probably they are probably going to do it to someone else as well. And I think if you can't do it for yourself, then please do it for other people.
Oh wow, I love that point. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also do it for yourself because you deserve it.
You deserve it, and this is something that really needs to be taken care of. And you will have you won't. I don't want to say you're not going to have any bad consequences after, because that might happen. But I think it'd be for good. Unless like the school's kind of toxic or the workplace is kind of toxic and they're like,
then you
bullying.
leave.
We don't bully people here.
Yeah. All right. The third one. Sorry, I completely interrupted you there. Continue.
Oh, I just said sweep it under the rug. Because you know one
of
those like one of those like workplaces and like school environments where like bullying, they just kind of ignore that problem. They're like, really, it happens here? Yeah. No. Bullying does not happen in this school or this workplace.
That's weak.
Yeah.
Because no school is perfect, and I would love to see a school that doesn't have bullies, but that would just be unrealistic of me, because within the society that we live in right now, it does. And if a school is like shading those things down, then they are cowards.
No,
because I think if I was a school, like, what is it, one of those people like school boards to come and check out the school, and then they tell me that, I'd be a little skeptical. Sure, I'd be really happy. Great, your school doesn't have bullies. But if they're lying about it, then I'd rather know that there are problems, but they're doing their best to fix it, than have no problem at all with that being a lie.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to add is that I think it happens everywhere, and it's gonna happen. It's not going to end. Bullying is going to happen for a long time. It's not going to end, obviously, because the world is not perfect, and it's never going to be.
I really hope
it won't. Someone's always going to get bullied, and someone's always going to bully someone.
And it's yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle that's never going to be broken.
You have a very toxic way of looking at that.
I'm just being realistic.
But it's realistic. It is realistic. Yeah. I'll give you that.
It's not like very pessimistic. It's just realism.
Okay. So the third and final one is to talk to people. Either that be someone you trust about your feelings or someone superior to deal with the problem, or even just surround yourself with supporting people who will block out the negativity, who will push you up and not drag you down instead.
Or you find a therapist. Pay for. I think I'm a little unrealistic saying get a therapist, but because we're not going to have the funds and resources to do that, and some of us aren't going to have that. But I think it's important to have a stable support system that you can count on and rely on when you're at your worst.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think you sum it up really beautifully. If you have really strong support system, it almost cancels out and doesn't matter if about the negative comment, because all those people that you don't need the opinion of don't matter anymore.
Yeah, because you have that love and support that you need.
Yeah, and sometimes people aren't lucky enough to be able to have that. So I think you can also try and be the bigger person and go be that support structure for someone else.
Yeah, and help them out when they're at the worst, when they're at their worst. For sure.
Definitely.
Okay, fun end. Sorry, I'm going to cut the topic there. Is that it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, anyways, passengers on a British Airways flight were left baffled when crates of frozen sea bass and sea bream arrived instead of their luggage. A passenger said, "We thought our luggage was in the second wave of deliveries, but it was just box after box of fish." It was on the conveyor belt too. So it was hilarious.
Can you imagine? What would you do if you were in their shoes?
Oh my god.
Or in their tails?
It was imagine the boxes of fish on the conveyor belt instead of your luggage.
I would be really confused. I'd be like,
well, it depends. Oh my god. I would definitely be baffled. Just in shock.
Wait, I would probably be like, wait, can I take this fish home?
Can you cook it for me?
I can cook a fish. I can cook a mean fish.
Really?
No.
Okay.
In theory, I can.
I could. But would I?
I could.
The question.
I can't. Also, I thought eating fish was a thing that isn't very good now because
plastic.
No, there's a documentary on Netflix called Seaspiracy.
Oh yeah, that plastic, right?
Yeah, I think it's plastic. I think it's a mixture of plastic and the fact that it's just not good for the ocean life.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I might become a vegetarian when I grow up. Maybe.
See, I think of that to myself, and then I'm like, wait, I'm gonna miss a good cut of steak. So
sometimes part-time vegetarian.
Part-time vegetarian.
Yeah, let's just do that.
We should try going vegan for a week.
Yeah. No, we definitely should.
We will in the future.
We will.
We should update on that.
We will. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for listening.
Yes. We hope you enjoy and learn something, of course.
Yes. Obviously, that is the main goal of our podcast. Anyways, thank you for listening. Always yours, Alex and Cara. Bye.
Bye. See you next week.
See you.